say good day to you.
This day of your time, how are you all? All right. We thank you once again for the co-creation of this interaction. And we will begin this transmission with the idea called Children of the Future, which is you. And this is what we mean by this idea. Most people on your planet at this time think of themselves as the product of what has happened to them in the past. And as we have discussed, of course, many times, you're actually creating the experience of your past from the present. As you define yourself in the moment, of course, you create a different past that makes linear sense, space-time sense, for the person that you have changed yourself to be in the moment, creating a past that makes sense in terms of what you would have to have been in order to become who you are. And you change this many times in many ways over the course of your lifetime. So that at any given moment, you may not know that a few moments ago you would have remembered a completely different past. Because when you create a new past, you generally do so to allow it to make sense as if it's been the past you've always had. So you don't have to think about it. It simply exists then, comes into being then to support the person you say you are now. And you've done this over and over again. Not only individually, but even collectively. As we reminded you at one particular point when we were discussing this topic previously, you have had many different collective timeline pasts as an entire society, even as an entire civilization. The example we gave before is the idea that even though, at this point, most of you would say that your President Kennedy was assassinated in your year of 1963, it actually used to be true that he didn't die until 1985. But the idea is there were repercussions from that particular reality that collectively you did not prefer. So you changed things to allow there to be a different history where what had happened when he lived until 1985 would not happen. Therefore, this happens all the time, though most of you will not remember the 1985 history at this point. Now, we understand that we have explained that it is really your present that creates the past, but we're going to use in the following example for this subject, for this topic at this time, the linear idea since you are so used to using it. But we're going to help you use it in a different way. You are very used to the idea, as we said, of thinking that your past supports who you are now in the present. But what we are asking you to do is to start to shift so that it's not so much that you inform who you are now by who you've been, but inform who you are now by who you will become, your future selves. It is now time to cross the threshold to start defining who you are now by who you will be. So the idea is similar to what you are experiencing here with us, because again, colloquially speaking, euphemistically speaking, metaphorically speaking, I am the channel's future self. We exist simultaneously, of course. But from your space-time perspective, I exist in a reality that you relate to as the idea of the future. And yet you can see that by the agreement that we have made, by the expression of this channeling and this communication, I, as the so-called future self of the channel sitting before you, over time, rub off on him. Inform him of how he can become more his version of me in his own reality, so that he begins to live a life not informed by the past, but informed by the future. All of you have the capacity to do this. And it's an easy thing to do in using your imagination. Now again, following the rule that it's not about insistence, but just as an imagination exercise that can help create a shift in your vibration, it's okay to use your imagination to start imagining versions of your future self, not only in the idea of a connection you may have to another being in another civilization, in another dimension, in another reality, on a spirit level, what have you, but also the idea of the future self that you can allow yourself to become while on earth, mirroring that idea of the future self that you are connecting to elsewhere in the same way that the channel connects to us. So using your imagination, you can begin to paint a picture. You can start with the idea of a future self that is similar to the idea of the kind of future self I am to the channel. You can imagine a counterpart, another version, another extension of the same oversoul that you are, living a life on another planet and another reality that is more representative of the ideal situation that you prefer in your own world. You can begin that way. And as you begin to form a connection in that imagination and play that story out of what that life may be like, and allow it to become more and more solid, more and more real, again, without the insistence that it has to be, quote unquote, accurate, you can begin to entrain the vibration of your body now to begin to accept the state of being that is representative of that idealized future self that you prefer to be. And as you play out daily scenarios of that version of you, you will start at a certain point, when you become used to it, when you practice it, start to feel yourself taking on some of those qualities. You will start to mirror and mimic the way you see that being functioning in its reality. And that will start to rub off and start to inform your present experience on earth. You will start to see that you will do things a little bit differently. You will start to think a little bit differently. You will start to see things from a different perspective that is more representative of that future self. And bit by bit, as you build that relation and build that connection and strengthen that state of being and make it more real for yourself as a real reality, you will begin to feel that energy within yourself. You will begin to relate to the idea a little bit more than you have related to the idea that your past informs you, that your past has made you what you are. You will start to leave that behind and start to realize that it is your future history that now begins to inform you. And you will start to behave in that way and feel in that way. And start, as we said, to do things that are a little bit more representative of who you can become on earth as your version of that future self. Just as the channel is becoming more his version of us. That will create you to be a child of the future, coming from the future to your present, in the same way that you have for so long come from the past in your mind, in your energy, into the present. Now it's time to tip that scale to the other side and allow you to come from, allow the information to come from the future to you. And let it be real, because it is real. It is a real reality. You just have to get used to it in the same way you're used to thinking of yourself as being a product of the past. You are now becoming a product of the future. Do you understand? All right. Now, we will help crystallize this a little bit more strongly a little later in the transmission during your holotope meditation. But for now, we simply wish to lay out this idea so that you can begin to let it sink in that this is a different perspective, and allow yourself to begin to really be willing to let go of the idea that you are formed from the past and start at least considering and entertaining the concept that you're actually informed from the future instead. Yes? So then, at this timing, we thank you once again for the gift you are giving to us in allowing us to interact with each and every one of you. And we ask you now, in what way may we continue to be of service to you? Please begin with your questions and dialogues if you wish.
Hi.
Andrew, good day.
This is the most beautiful day. I am right where I'm supposed to be. Everything's divine.
It is.
It is. So, first and foremost, I got a little sad yesterday when I came here because I want to make sure that Daryl feels appreciated. I am so grateful and appreciative for Bashar, but
all right.
He's still happy.
All right. Now, it is very kind of you to wish that the channel understands he is appreciated, and he does, but that's not a reason for you to be sad. Because, again, the idea is that if you are holding on to the concept of the channel feeling appreciation, which is something that grows, but you are sad, then the vibration of the sadness is diminishing the appreciation. Do you understand?
I do.
So, there is no reason for you to feel sad. The channel is perfectly fine.
Great.
Remember that we are taking care of things.
You are.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
moving on. All right. So, a couple months ago, I had the divine revelation of everything you just talked about.
How synchronous of you.
Yes, it's great. So, I had the divine revelation that I need to let go of my past. Yes. I grew up with a very traumatic background that I...
Did you?
Well, I used my permission slip
yes.
to believe that my traumatic life made me who I am today.
And now you know that's not necessarily so.
Yes.
All right.
So,
however,
yes.
that doesn't invalidate that it brought you to the understanding that you don't have to lock into it anymore. Yes? So
yes.
You have used a past you now no longer have. All right.
So so a couple months ago, I felt like I need to let go of all of this. I need to let go of my childhood to
yes.
truly become the person I am today.
Yes.
But then, as stated before, I use it as my permission slip.
Yes.
So if I am truly in love with myself, like I think I am, do I need to let go of that past to help me to evolve into the person I want to be? Or can I hold on to my trauma?
Do you wish to hold on to your trauma?
I think it depends on the moment. You know, like
yes,
in this moment,
I'm
decision. So happy. Like, I'm so happy and I am so grateful for my family and all of the chaos.
If you
other times I hate it.
If you believe that you need the trauma as a permission slip, then you'll hold on to it. If you believe you don't need it anymore to be the person that you prefer to be, then you won't hold on to it. It's that simple. You can always recall the idea of the so-called past without necessarily being controlled by it. Just because you are aware of it doesn't mean that it affects you. It can be a neutral observation. This was the path I took. I validate it for bringing me where I am today, but I in no way, shape, or form, even though I might neutrally observe that trauma was involved, need to hold on to the vibrational energy of the trauma in order to be who I prefer to be. So you can do both as long as you neutralize the idea and you don't necessarily need it to feel like it's affecting you anymore. Unless, again, that's what you prefer at the moment because you don't necessarily believe that you can do it any other way. But that's up to you.
Okay. So either way, it won't hold me back from getting to where I want to go.
As long as you know it will not hold you back, then no, it won't.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Next question. So we all know this is an illusion, that we're dreaming this reality. So
yes.
where do other people play into this? Are other people real? Are
yes.
they just me? Like,
the versions of them you interact with are created by you out of your consciousness. That doesn't mean they're not real in their own right. And they're creating their version of you to appear in their reality by a shared agreement on a higher level, so that you can have an experience of interacting with them, but you are the one creating the simulations that you interact with as your versions of them. Their versions of themselves may be very different.
So am I manifesting no actions or creating no actions?
You are creating your part of attracting yourself into any scenario where they appear to be taking a particular action, but you have to discern why you're creating that for your own reasons while they may be creating it for their reasons. You have to take just responsibility for your part of the creation and use it in the best possible way you can.
So is what makes something true what I believe to be true? Or is it all?
Yes, except for the idea of what we call the 5 laws, because that is a literal description of the nature and structure of existence itself, and those can't change. But everything else is a perspective, a belief, an opinion.
Okay, so
Yes.
so it all exists, but it's what I draw my attention to that's going to exist in my reality, correct?
Yes, and that will be at that moment your truth.
Okay. So the more I pay attention to my truth, will I get farther and farther away from the 2 other beliefs? How is this making sense?
You mean a negative-based belief?
Like if one person's saying one thing, another person is saying another thing, and I'm choosing to believe this.
Yes.
The more I focus on believing this, is the farther I'm getting away from the chaos of both of those choices.
Yes. If the belief that you are buying into doesn't contain the idea of needing chaos, then you won't experience it. Remember that there is one thing, there is another thing, but what you're choosing, even though it may seem to be a combination of the 2, is actually its own reality. Does that help?
It does help.
All right.
Couple more things. Give me 1 second. Why do I talk this way?
Why do you talk what way?
The way that I'm talking. You know, people are like, are you from New York? Is it a speech impediment? What is this?
How the fuck should I know?
I didn't know if, like, maybe it's from, like, a past life. I'm, like, carrying on, like, maybe a past accent, you know?
Everything is present, but you might be connecting to another person who speaks that way because for some reason you believe it helps you get your point across more clearly.
Except no one hears me, but that's okay.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. See, exactly. Okay. I appreciate you. Okay.
And we deeply appreciate you. You are unique. Enjoy your uniqueness. Enjoy your expression. It may not always be this way, but for now, obviously, you believe it needs to be. It serves you in some way, shape, or form.
So I have a lot of childlikeness, and I choose not to let that go, because I feel I feel this deep connection to children. I feel children know the way.
Yes, in a sense, they do.
So I have gone down the path of always working with children.
All right.
And my dream is I want to create my own school of consciousness.
Go right ahead. Nothing is stopping you.
Okay. So I'm still on my path.
All right.
All right. And I'll finish up. Who is Anderson? Do you know?
Anderson?
Yes.
You have to be more definitive. There are many people on your planet named Anderson.
Is there a connection?
Is this something that you have discovered within yourself by stretching your consciousness out?
Yes.
Then for now, it can be considered the idea of a guide.
Okay.
What does the feeling do for you when you make that connection?
Love.
All right. So it's giving you an opportunity to recognize the state from which to come in everything that you do in your life. Especially loving yourself as much as you possibly can. Yes?
Yes.
All right.
Can you talk about the diagnosis we have here on Earth of ADHD?
In most cases, it doesn't really exist. The idea is simply that the speed of certain people's mentality is speeding up. And when they are allowed to focus in the way that they actually need to focus, they won't necessarily be seen as being out of sync. Yes?
Yes.
I've answered you.
You have answered me.
Thank you.
Yes.
Now, get the fuck out of here.
Thank you.
Apologies to the hypersensitive. But you know, when in New York, and
And
good day.
good day.
What are you waiting for?
Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to say anything yet.
Oh, all right. It's your time. You can begin.
Well, first of all, I think you're a real sweetie.
Oh, why, thank you. Gosh, shucks, golly gee. There, that should balance out the other thing.
Tally ho. So when I did this ticket yesterday to get the question,
Yes.
I wasn't really anticipating coming up here. I really wasn't thinking about really doing it.
Well, obviously, on some level, you must have been.
I know.
So, is there something you would simply like to discuss? You don't have to have a question. You can make a
Yeah,
statement.
okay. That's great, because I didn't have a question.
Oh, all right.
But what I did want to kind of get some feeling about, I guess.
Speak up.
I know that I'm millions and millions of years old. I'm planet dust. I'm dinosaur dust. I'm all of it combined to make who I am now as far as my spirit. And what I was picking up recently is that the earth is billions of years old, and there's been many, many, many civilizations that have gone to the point we're at now, and they haven't crossed over yet, and this is going to be the one that does. Going to be the one that goes to the fifth dimension, that really does breaks through the matrix.
Yes, but again, please do remember, you never actually change the world you're on. You shift to another version of Earth that's already that way.
Yeah.
So yes, many people on your planet will finally complete the cycle and go beyond it. Some will not, but many now will. This is the age of transformation. So you have an opportunity to understand there are many different storylines from different directions, different times, different places, both in your own so-called history and in other histories throughout the galaxy, that are now focusing on finishing their stories and perhaps transforming their stories in certain ways by coming to Earth at this time. Earth is like, at this time, a lens, a focal point for all of these stories to go through their transformations in a way where they may finally be able to complete a very long, millions of years cycle for certain things and move on to something a little bit different. This is one of the things we actually will be discussing in a future transmission, as you have already been told about, called the Angels of Orion.
That's stellar.
In a word.
Yes.
And so, anything else?
I think that's it.
Why, thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Good day, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
How will the types of food and our relationship with food change for our benefit during this ascension process?
Well, as you change for your own benefit, you may find that there are certain things that you're simply not attracted to eat anymore. As you change your own frequency, you will be attracted to what you truly need, and you will let go of what you truly do not. It's as simple as that. You don't have to force it. It will be automatic if you are clear within yourself and you allow yourself to go with the natural biological flow of what it is you truly need at any given moment. Then you will know exactly what it is you need to eat and what it is you don't. Now, some people will find that as they refine and upgrade, so to speak, their vibrational frequency, you will probably most likely on average eat less. And you will probably most likely on average eat things that are lighter in frequency. But again, it depends on the person. It depends on the path. It depends on why you're choosing to experience that. You have to, once again, take it on a person-by-person, case-by-case basis as to what is correct and appropriate for that particular individual. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
But there is the overall average that as you lighten up, most likely so will your diet. because you simply lose the urge to eat things that are no longer relevant or vibrationally compatible with you. Yes?
Makes sense.
I know, that's why I said it.
Besides wearing them and putting them around our homes, what are your recommendations for us on how we can use crystals?
Well, like anything, they are permission slips. You understand that concept, yes?
Yes.
Well, if you understand that concept, why are you asking? Because you know it's up to you to decide that whatever it is you happen to be attracted to use, in whatever way your imagination is attracted to use it, that means you're attracted to it for the reason that for some reason it matches your belief system at that moment in a way that allows you to circumvent your belief system and go further. So it's really up to you to decide what works for you. We have given you the underlying concept of permission slips, and that's really all you need to understand. You can use them in any way you so desire, any way you're attracted to. Now, of course, as a representation physically of energy, they are, of course, a certain arrangement of energy patterns that represents the concept of information storage and retrieval. That's their basic function in the collective consciousness of your planet. They store information, they release information. They are conduits of information. They are conduits of energy. So the idea is, you know the basic. Use it in whatever way, in whatever combinations seem to make sense to you, that you're attracted to at this moment. Because that's going to be vibrationally resonant with your belief system and will allow certain things to change. Because you will be changing them because you believe they can by using those permission slips. Yes?
Yes.
Does that answer your question?
It does.
Anything else?
Yes. Humans have been channeling for thousands of years, and
Yes.
now with the emergence of computer technology, is it possible for extraterrestrials or non-physical entities to communicate through computer technology, and if so, how?
Yes. As we have actually said, when your scientists finally create a device that expresses what they have called artificial intelligence, you will start to realize in time that intelligence is not artificial. The only thing, in a sense, that's so-called artificial is the device that you have created to be sophisticated enough that allows a real intelligence to begin to communicate to you through it. So the biggest surprise when you create artificially intelligent computers will be to discover that what you're actually talking to is your own higher mind.
That's really cool.
It's whatever temperature you wish it to be.
And finally, one last question.
Yes.
Over the past few years, humans have become connected in an unprecedented way through social media and the internet.
Yes.
I'm curious your thoughts on social media and how we can use it to benefit humanity.
Like anything, of course, it can be used positively or negatively, which often it is on your planet. But the idea is that it is a representation, a symbolic beginning of the idea of recognizing how connected all of you actually are. And it is the beginning, the very, very early beginnings, the seed of the concept of awakening into the telepathic communication you can all experience with each other when you're on the same wavelength.
Amazing. Thank you
And
so
it's
much.
also something that can start to entrain you to understand that information is accessible everywhere, everywhen, no matter where you are. As long as you frequency match the information that you seek, that will be the information you receive. This so-called idea of the Akashic records is an outdated, old-fashioned way of talking about the fact that information is simply available everywhere, everywhen, because everything is here and now. So if you simply match the frequency of a particular idea, that is the information that will holographically be presented to you. And therefore, the idea of the interconnections on your social media and your ability to search the internet are the beginnings of going into a state of being that can allow those particular attributes and abilities to grow. Since channeling is a natural state. Anytime, that's why we encourage you to follow your passion, because anytime you are acting on your passion, you're in a channeling state. Yes?
Yeah,
Does that help?
that helps. Thank you so much for being here.
You are so welcome.
Greetings and good day, Bashar.
Good day to you.
I have gifts.
Yes, you are a gift.
Thank you. Well, today it's an early celebration of birthday present to myself to be here, to be with you.
Oh, all right. Happy birthday.
And thanks for giving me the present of coming up here to engage with you in a deeper way. And I brought you a birthday gift as well.
Which is?
Early. So it's a bottle of frankincense essential oil that both Daryl and you can partake of. Frankincense was also given as a gift to Christ.
Yes, we understand the story.
And I am giving it to you in anchoring that same Christ energy collectively in all of us today,
All right.
here and now, in the here and now.
Our deep appreciation to you for the gift.
All right, and then also I have a card for you. You had said to give us an invitation to join you on your ship and with the Asani. So I created a card. I don't know if the camera can show it to the camera so everybody can see it. It's everybody standing with all the different ships. So it's celebrating first contact, open contact.
All right.
And inside the card, several of us from Bashar Group, Delta Light and Stephanie and Aaron and myself, we're all gonna, tonight on Bell Rock, we invite you to join us. We'd like
My energy is always there. You can tap into it as deeply as you wish. It is not time for a physical face-to-face.
Okay. I am choosing to recall all my memories from past, present, future experiences with you in my here and now. So let that be said. So anyway.
It has been said.
So back to the card. The prime directive, which is what you use for government.
No, you misunderstand.
Okay, well, the orchestration of synchronicity.
Yes.
And us living into that in the now, here and now.
Yes.
The symbol for flow, unconditional love,
Yes.
is on the card.
All right.
And also receive from sacred circuitry transmission.
Yes.
And express and also relate and connect and manifest. So we've all signed this card, and so we're with you.
We thank you.
Your interview with Alan Steinfeld really touched me deeply in my own awakening.
All right.
And there was a portion where Alan Steinfeld had asked you about Paul Lowe's group and you commented that it was the closest in vibration to the Asani on the planet currently.
Sasani.
Sasani, thank you.
The planet is Sasani. The people are Sasani.
Sasani.
Sasani is the planet.
Sasani for the
Yes.
planet.
Sasani.
Thank you for that correction. So my question is, how many people now currently are embodying that state, that presence, state of being the presence, love and awareness?
A physical number on your planet?
Yes, right now, that know it, actively know it and integrating it, embodying it in the here and now.
13.
13 billion?
13.
13 individuals.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of you are close, but you asked us to express the number that absolutely embody that vibration. Most do not, no matter how close they may be. They are not yet like us. But 13 are.
Okay. So my next question is, in my 20s, I had an experience where I was driving my car and I saw an eagle fly ahead, and I thought, from a place of pure just love and interest, I was like, I want to see what the eagle sees from the eyes of the eagle. And immediately I was transported and seeing above, overhead, and
Yes.
this immense love, connection with nature and life itself. And in that awareness state, I sensed and saw 2 grays in my car sitting behind me.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
It was exciting, and I would love to know if these grays were, one of them was myself, and
Yes, but not you literally.
another parallel version.
Yes, a parallel version, which is often the case. In the encounters with the grays, that one of them at least will be a parallel version of the being they are interacting with on Earth. That way, there is the creation of familiarity. in the frequency.
Okay. So those were also like the beings that probably got my DNA to help?
Probably.
Yeah, okay, cool. Was there anything else going on?
Yes, they were observing your ability to shift your consciousness to the level of the eagle, so that they understood that the vibrational patterns were working in a certain way, that you were capable of doing that.
Awesome. Okay, thanks. My relationship to my Asani counterpart.
To your whom?
Sasani.
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 The people are Sasani.
Sasani.
Yes.
Okay, so my Sasani counterpart.
Yes.
To you in our family line, what is our relationship?
It is not a direct relation. It is simply another being on my planet at a different time frame.
It's not down the family tree.
Not exactly, no. We are all, in some sense, from the same family tree because we are an artificially created hybridized race. But in the way that you're asking it, it's not absolutely direct. More like distant cousin.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
And then I had an experience in a meditation where an amethyst crystal skull
Yes.
given to me by two dolphins.
Yes.
And in following my excitement, what transpired was some synchronistic events where literally I was going to Florida and there was a hurricane coming and we still went anyway, and we were guided to get some crystals to put into the ocean. And I met this guy, medicine man, and I told him about my meditation with the crystal skull, and he told me he was a walk-in dolphin, and he said one moment, and he walked away, and he came back from his room, and he handed me an amethyst crystal skull.
Yes.
Very large-sized crystal skull, and said, I am now the guardian and the keeper of this skull. And I feel that it's connected to the 12 original crystal skulls.
Yes, the 13, actually, because there is a master skull. And the idea is that the original amethyst skull is under the sea.
Yes.
In the ruins of Atlantis. And therefore the dolphins are the keepers at the moment.
Yes.
That will do. Thank you. Our deep appreciation to you.
Okay. Thank you. My deepest love to you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a new normal,
Yes.
and it started when at home when I was woken up between 2 and 3 in the morning,
Typical.
and I was asked to look outside, and I went out, and Spirit said, look at your left, and I saw 2 aliens jumping or walking along my fence line, and they jumped into a portal.
Yes.
One turned and looked at me, and there was a recognition.
Yes.
And
She
then,
can see us.
yeah, it was like that. And then they showed me later, they told me back to go out and look outside, and it was like 6 in the morning. And they said, look up, and I saw 3 Earths with my physical eye.
Yes.
And they said we would be hopping from this Earth to the second Earth.
Yes.
And
As we have said, there are an infinite number of parallel versions of Earth. And therefore, as you heighten your senses, you might actually be able to start seeing them.
this is true.
I know. I
And
said it.
it was and so then there was a time where they said, we're going to be hopping the Earth. And I said, can I take my house with me? Because I really like it.
But your house is already there.
That's what they said.
I know.
And so I did. We did. So we're all part of the other Earth. And they
Yes.
said we would make 2 more hops, two new Earths.
Yes.
And then, like a year later, I'm sitting on my swing in my front yard, And I was talking on the phone with a friend, and the same breed of alien was walking along the fence line, and it stopped, and we stared at each other, and I told my friend I had to hang up because there was an alien staring at me.
Is your friend still your friend?
No. She's not. But that's okay.
That's what happens when you see aliens sometimes.
Yeah. And so when we looked at each other, it froze my body and froze my mind, and it did a quick scan up and down.
Yes.
And I felt the telepathy of, like, you're one of us, it's okay.
Yes.
And I started getting really tired, so I went in and laid down.
Yes.
And I think it went to jump in that portal.
Yes.
And then they took me on a ship and showed me a huge screen.
Yes.
And they said, we want to expand your consciousness.
Yes. Which
And
you asked them to do.
I was up for it, yes.
Yes.
And so they started off showing how they know everything about everybody, every penny they've spent, every word they've said. And
It's easy to tap into.
They got bigger and bigger. It made the Akashic records look very puny.
All right, but that's because the Akashic record idea, like I said, is an old-fashioned concept.
I believe that now.
Yes.
Yeah. And so after that, they were very kind and asked if they could continue to expanding my mind.
Yes.
And I allowed, but towards the end it got pretty heavy. My mind was having a little bit of
All right, yes.
difficulty taking in the information.
Might have reached your processing speed.
I think I maxed
Yes.
out, yeah.
That's all right.
And so then, so since that experience, my new norm is recognizing my future lives. Like you said this in your beginning,
Yes.
the past and the past lives don't hold any weight anymore.
Yes.
And the future life holds a lot of
Yes.
inner weight at
Yes.
this point in time.
Yes.
And so 2 of my lives is, one, I'm on a ship, I have an office, and I get invited to other ships.
Yes.
And a lot of times they discuss political earth activities, and they scan my body to see my heart measurement in what's happening on planet Earth.
Yes.
And I just give them a heart measurement, it seems like quite often, on different
Yes.
ships. And,
The heart is a recording device.
okay, I didn't know that.
Yes. It has its own way of thinking.
All right. So I don't feel used that way. I feel,
Well, you volunteered for this.
that's what I thought. Okay. But I wasn't sure. But it feels like that.
Yes. Because it is.
All right. And then the other life that I'm living parallel, and
That you're tapping into.
that I'm tapping into, and I
Because it's not literally you. It's
Kinda.
another being.
yeah, but it looks like the same physical body in the
Still not you.
okay.
It's another being. It's
Okay.
another version,
So,
which is distinct unto herself, that you are tapping into because you're all part of the same oversoul extension. Do you understand? You're all extended from the same oversoul.
Okay, so it's like we're split into 3
Yes.
beings.
Like the oversoul had triplets.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So my other experience is I'm a doctor. It feels like it's 250 years in the future. And I'm a surgeon with organs, but all the organs are made out of light
Well, they are made
and
out
frequency, and
of light. They are made out of light.
they're okay.
It's the recognition of that fact that you're now sensing. In the future life, the future being recognizes that physical matter is light. Even your own scientists really know this.
Uh-huh.
It's just that it comes to a larger expression of fruition in the future where it's understood clearly that that's what it is, and that small adjustments in frequency make all the difference. That's what the surgery is of the future. It's just adjustments in frequency, precise frequency adjustments.
Yeah, it seems like all the medical work, I have a medical office that I go to, that everything is done with frequency.
Yes.
And looking inside a human body and understanding everything in it, it's very simple.
Yes.
Everything's on a screen.
Yes.
And nothing can be hidden.
Right.
And everything's, and when they ask for a new organ, whether it be a liver or a heart, or the frequency of the person increases with their new transplant. And
It shifts, yes.
yeah, it feels really nice.
Yes.
So my question is,
Yes.
feels a little awkward being futuristic, and
Why? You're just not used to it, that's all.
yeah,
But you will. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to being your future self. That's the whole idea. You're being informed from the future, so you'll get used to it.
so does humanity
Yes?
going towards their future lives
This is what we call the evolution of becoming the sixth hybrid race. Yes.
okay. So when I jumped to the other Earth, everything seemed to fall away, and if I watch political on TV, it seems more like
You're watching a transmission from a reality in which you no longer actually live,
Yeah.
even though you can still observe it.
that's true.
And this is actually true for all of you.
I really like that.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Just because you can still observe a reality that is not vibrationally compatible with you doesn't mean you're actually living in it. Doesn't mean it has any ability to affect you. You're just capable of observing it. That's all.
So you would say in it, but not of it?
You're not even really in it. So neither in it nor of it.
Help me there.
And so, good day.
Yes, living into the future, feeling that discontinuity from the now becoming more prevalent as time goes on. You said this is more normal.
Yes.
How do we get there?
It's more natural.
Natural, okay. Getting there sooner than later, how do we?
By following the formula.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we have also talked about the idea of the exercise you can do called the threshold of believability. Are you familiar with that?
No.
All right. Some process may be necessary for you to experience, but you can accelerate the process sometimes greatly by taking the threshold of believability test. If there is a particular idea that represents you being more of who you truly prefer to be, doing something, taking action on your passion, and you find that you may be holding on to belief systems that make it seem as if you can't necessarily do that as quickly as you would prefer, then you can begin to take the threshold of believability test in the following way. You can say, all right, let's start with a time frame that I know is way more time than I need in order to actually live my passion in the way that I prefer, to take action on this and for manifestations to begin to occur that are representative of being in that state. Way more time. So let's just say, for example, just to paint the picture, just to illustrate the point, that 20 years is more than enough time for you to process whatever you need to process to allow yourself to finally be who you prefer to be and experience that life of passion and creativity and joy. So you ask yourself the question this way: is 20 years more than enough time to create that? Yes, absolutely. There is not a shadow of a doubt in me or a belief within me that says that it cannot happen before 20 years. All right, well then let's lower the time frame. Is 15 years enough time? Yes, absolutely. No problem. I can absolutely be that person living a life of joy within 15 years. How about 10 years? Yes, no problem. How about 5 years? The second, and you can go down in whatever increments you want. You can go down year by year, you can go down month by month, day by day, whatever you want to do. The instant you hesitate to say, yes, no problem, any hesitation at all, that's how long it will take with your present belief system. That's the length of the process. Now, you can say, all right, well, let's see, what belief would I have to buy into for it to take that much time? If you find the belief, see that it is a belief that doesn't belong within you, and let it go, you take the test again. 20 years, absolutely, no problem. 10 years, no problem. 5 years, now with my new belief, absolutely. I see how I can be that person within 5 years, no hesitation, no problem. 3 years, yes, no problem. 2 years, Again, as soon as you hesitate, find out if there's a belief that you have that doesn't work for you, that makes it seem necessary for it to take that much time. Get it down as far as you can till you have no more beliefs holding you back. Whatever amount of time is left at that point is the amount of time the process needs to take for you to actually have a full appreciation of the experience of manifesting a life and a reality as your true preferred self.
So peeling the layers.
Peeling the layers away until it takes as little time as it really needs to. But whatever time is left, that's the time it needs to take, because you did choose to experience a physical reality. And therefore, sometimes you actually do prefer to go through certain processes that take a little time in order to develop a deeper understanding and a deeper appreciation of the process of the creation of that experience. Because that goes into informing you about how you're creating reality.
Yes.
So you can't necessarily completely do away with it, because you are agreeing to have a physical experience, which is an experience, no matter how flexible and malleable space-time can become, it's still an experience defined by the idea in some way, shape, or form of experiencing space and time.
Why we're here to begin with, to your point.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Hello.
And to you, good day.
Good day. So you've been asked this question before, and you said that you couldn't give more information at the time.
Yes.
And I think someone asked later, you gave some more information and then kind of stopped. So I'm wondering if you can give more information now.
Well, you'll have to ask the question.
So what was the purpose of the Jews being let out of Egypt? From what you said last time, is they were guided out by an alien something.
A craft, yes.
A craft. And is that purpose still relevant today?
It's a little bit different today, but it was the beginning of saving the templates for the hybridization agenda of that particular culture that was required. Not that they're the only ones, but it was foreseen along the time track they were taking that the particular culture required for the evolution into the sixth hybrid race would have been extinguished had that particular group not been taken out of harm's way.
So it was their DNA, basically?
The DNA and the energy patterns that they were adopting and expressing to a certain point. Certain energy templates are used for the creations of the hybrids, along with the idea of DNA mixing.
So I guess now the Jews being identified as Jews and like a culture and religion, is that still relevant today?
Not completely, no. The idea is that they still do exhibit certain things that are unique, although, again, many other cultures do as well that are also part of the hybridization agenda. But it's becoming less and less relevant because the idea of the intermixing is what's going to create the idea of dropping all of those labels and all of those borders and actually having a sixth hybrid race. Mm-hmm. Again, not so much in the idea of homogenizing the human race, but creating a new template from which different kinds of diversity can be experienced and validated and expressed.
And can you comment on the Torah at all? Like, who wrote it and did it come from God?
Well, certain aspects of it were simply downloaded from all that is, in the sense that anyone can tap in and download information from existence, from all that is. So it is relevant for the time in the way it was expressed, but over time there's also been many misunderstandings and misinterpretations of what the original information actually meant. And this is true throughout the idea of many of your religious expressions on your planet, where there's a lot of misunderstanding of what the original message actually was. For example, you have this idea, as we have expressed before, called the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
Well, it's actually not really that way. The original idea that was written down in a misunderstood way as the first commandment usually is phrased in the following way on your planet. I am the Lord your God, thou shalt not have false gods before me. The original message was, I am all that is, there can be nothing that is false, for everything is me. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
You can't have a false God, because any representation is a representation I contain. So it's not, thou shalt not have false gods. It's not possible to have false gods, because everything is made of all that is. See the difference?
Yeah.
All right.
So can you comment on like the laws of kosher and the Sabbath day, the seventh day?
Well, again, the ideas had to do in ancient times with health issues, because certain things might not necessarily have been physically healthy for you in the way that foods were ingested and prepared and so on and so forth. So the idea of the maintenance of a certain health code, a certain food code, did prevent certain diseases from spreading at the time. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
But again, because of the mentality of the time, it seemed like it had to come from on high. And of course, sometimes these directives did come from the extraterrestrial sources, which again were misinterpreted as the idea of coming from God. You understand?
Yeah.
All right. And the idea, again, is that certain things now don't really have to necessarily be perpetuated in order for someone to be walking the exact spiritual path that is right for them. So again, the idea of maintaining a particular religious idea of that expression is really up to the individual, but it's not really necessary for most individuals at this time. If they understand what path they really are, then they will attract exactly what they need. And it may or may not coincide with what the religion that they may have been raised in says they ought to do. But if it's right for them, it's right for them.
So I guess the laws of the Sabbath day came from like the aliens, or?
Well, it's simply the recognition that it's important for you to rest.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important for you to acknowledge your connection to spirit and all that is. And therefore, time was set aside for that, to create a kind of a natural cycle of expression and then reception and meditation and connection. Yes?
Yeah.
But it has become, as you would say, codified into this idea of keep holy the Sabbath. It basically just means don't forget your connections.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. And is there like an energy vortex in Israel or many, or is there one on the Temple Mount or something?
Yes, there is a very strong one on the Temple Mount.
And
That's why it is the idea of a vortex of the major religions that exist in that area. It's why the crossover is there. It's why everyone's attracted to it, that expresses some degree of connection or familiarity to the energy of the area.
And are there any other vortexes in
Of course.
Israel?
Of course. But we're not going to line them all up for you at this particular moment.
Okay.
It is all right for you to understand that Jerusalem is an extremely strong one.
Mm-hmm.
Yes?
Yeah.
All right.
I guess that's all I have.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I have a question about light language, the galactic light language.
The galactic
Light language.
light language.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, it's just vibration, similar to the idea of the vibration sent to you from your higher mind.
Okay, so if I were to talk to you in it, would you be able to understand?
No, you don't understand how this works. You understand I'm not speaking your language at all?
Okay.
This is a translation into the language of my thoughts that the channel has been programmed with as a language. The channel is functioning as a translation device. I'm not speaking any language, therefore, for you to speak a foreign language that doesn't translate through the channel's mind will not translate to me.
Oh, I see. Okay, that's good to know.
Yes, it is.
Do you know of the Gaddafi beings? They called themselves that. And Sebin, and also the golden ones. They came in a dream.
There may be many interpretations of those ideas. Generally speaking, they represent different kinds of groups that you may have your own connections to, and often represent different kinds of councils that can guide and allow one to understand, again, more clearly the vibrational energy that you are related to, connected to, so that you may come from that vibration in your life, so it works for you in your life.
Okay. I do drawings on my tablet of these beings, and I was just wondering if you happen to know who some of them are.
Well, if you haven't given a visual representation that then can be input into the channel's mind before asking the question, then we have no real access to the images. Again, like language, it's got to be something that's in the channel's mind for the translation device to function in two directions.
Okay.
If you wish to show the images at some point to the channel, then it will be there and accessible to us in a future conversation that might be had.
All right. What is my current frequency?
At this particular moment, about 892,000 cycles per second.
Okay.
Does that vibrational number in any way, shape, or form help you?
I was just curious.
I see.
This is a question from my sister, Chelsea. I was just wondering if she happened to be a hybrid mother?
Yes.
Yes. Why does she have so much fear?
Because when these things start happening, usually in childhood, because the children are not taught to understand what is going on and don't have the tools to deal with it, they feel like they are out of control. And therefore, the body reacts with a survival mode mechanism. It goes into survival mode, thinking that it's actually, in a sense, dying because it's being shifted to a different reality that it has no control over.
I see.
Therefore, that can be something that may still exist within the psyche until the psyche understands how to deal with it by asking for more conscious awareness of their participation in those interactions so that they know it's something that they volunteered to do and that they have complete control over it, even though as a child they may not have believed so.
Am I connected to any of that?
To some degree, yes, but a little differently.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not going to explain how.
Okay. There's some things that I've noticed that I can't really ask, and it seems to kind of be hidden.
Well, yes, there are timings to things. There are things we're not allowed to say.
All right.
And therefore, there are things that you yourself know you don't need to know right now because it would interfere or intervene with the timing of these things as they need to unfold according to your own chosen themes.
Okay.
That's why we impose blocks upon ourselves when we communicate with all of you, so that if there is some information that would actually intervene in your process, we simply won't know it.
Okay. So I have a question, but I don't know if I can ask it.
All right, we'll do your best.
Well, I mean, like, is it okay for me to say it?
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
All right. Who are the 13?
The 13 are, in different ages, different individuals that have been handed down information and are the keepers of the crystal skull energies that contain information of your entire history on the planet. They are a type of council that are connected to the stars and connected to Earth in a particular way. You may call them shamanistic individuals, if you wish, and are usually members of indigenous cultures on your planet, though not always.
Okay. I was told I was one of them, or connected to that in some way.
No, you are not one
Okay,
of them. You
all
would
right.
know it if you were.
Yeah,
You wouldn't have
I wasn't
to ask.
sure.
You may be connected to the vibrational energy
Yeah.
that they represent, but you are not literally physically one of them.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yes?
I guess that's it.
All right. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you, Bashar. Esh bidan.
Hatu.
Hatu.
Shavai. Wow, I'm here in the hot seat. And
But you're standing.
I am standing in this hot stand.
In the hot spot.
And I am very surprised.
Why?
Well, because I didn't think I would come up and speak with you in this way.
Well, surprise, surprise.
Surprise, Arizona.
All right.
So, thank you so much, Bashar. Thank you last night for that meditation.
It is our passion and our pleasure.
It's definitely a passion. I want to thank you so much because I went home and had a beautiful interaction.
All right.
With my version of you.
All right.
And others. Yes. And I made a connection that I haven't made for a while. And I have lived here in Sedona for the last 3 years.
Yes.
And it's been coming and going as far as my communication with you.
Yes.
I've been interacting with your kind for over 20 some years.
All right.
But it's dissipated. And yesterday, being here, I realized I don't think I need to be here anymore.
All right. Where would you like to be?
I would go out into the world and take action based on what you have shared with us.
Yes, well, do so, please.
Absolutely. And after last night,
What are you still doing here?
Exactly. Goodbye. That is the point. You know why I'm here? Because I'm enjoying myself right now.
All right.
But the passion is beautiful. I love it.
All right.
I learned a lot about everybody here, the vibration of people that come here. It's awesome.
All right.
So
when will you go?
When will I leave? When you say, all right, goodbye. When will
You're relying on me to tell you?
No. This brings me to the attachment.
Yes.
Of having spiritual guidance, which I think we all kind of include you in that. Maybe, not all. But you're a spirit guide for me.
Oh, all right.
Not just you, but my future self.
Yes, of course.
And Ely, as I call him as a label.
Yes. Which means reflection or mirror.
Yes. And is he related to you?
Again,
yes.
Part of the society, not a direct relation per se.
Right.
But there are many of us that are available to many of you. Our general vibration can always be tapped into by any of you. But as individuals, there are different individuals that have different frequencies that are more attractive to different individuals on your planet.
Understood. I communicate with him various times. He's a future self for me, but I'm also interested in what I've been interacting with, which is my future self of the person, the persona, the ego structure of who I am.
Yes.
So I'm working upstream, as I say,
yes.
by communicating with me 2 years, 5 years, whatever.
Yes. This is what we were suggesting in the opening transmission.
Right. So I have some questions with that because I've had success about it. Just last week.
Yes.
I received information from him
yes.
that I needed to apply in the coming days.
Yes, and what's your question?
We call that intuition. My question is, I asked him for the lottery numbers. That hasn't worked out yet. That's one.
You want some lottery numbers?
Sure.
12, 19, 27, 48, 56.
Gary, write that down. Okay, so thank you. Thank you for that.
Absolutely, no problem.
Okay, in relation to the future self, the past self, I have done this one thing which I want to ask you about, which is I have physically been present with my 11-year-old, where I went back to a scene of where my mother died.
Yes.
And I went there and being physically returning to a physical place is quite powerful. It seemed to work better for me than it did in the imagination. So,
all right, well, that's fine as a permission slip. You can certainly use your physical reality to your advantage that way. Absolutely, nothing wrong with it.
Right, because my believability scale absolutely helped me to believe it.
Yes.
And I helped him at that moment.
All right.
As a parent. And it was beautiful.
Yes.
So I'm like,
many of you will learn to actually raise yourselves all over again.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yes. So
children of the future selves.
Yes. So my future selves, there are many multiple
Well, of course there are.
Yes, as Ely, as a Sasani, as other soul agreements I have, but I'm not tuned into them. I can only think of me, the person I am here now,
Yes.
and Sasani.
Yes.
That's
all right. That's what's necessary at the moment.
okay. So in order to open that door to yeah, right. So that's what applies. Thank you.
Yes.
That's really it.
All right.
I'd like
Is
to.
it, is it time to say goodbye?
No,
Oh, all right.
not quite. I'd like to ask you about the deities, Mother Mary, Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, Muhammad.
Yes.
Have they energetically pulled back?
No, not at all.
Okay. So, because I understood it a few years back where it's up to us now.
It is. But the idea is not that they've pulled back. The idea is that you are reassessing yourself, recalibrating yourself, maybe in a sort of limbo, shifting gears state that isn't necessarily allowing you to discern their vibration the way you used to, because it's about changing yourself to discern their vibration in a way that you need to.
Ah, I see. So it's a point of self-empowerment.
Yes.
Yes.
Point of self-realization.
Yes. Okay. And with the reality being as lucid as it's becoming, at least for me,
Yes.
when we delete someone from our telephones, from our social media,
Yes.
we're utilizing AI to actually remove them from our reality.
It could be that way. It depends
I've
on what's
experienced
going
that.
on, yes.
Yeah.
But it could be that way, yes.
It's interesting, an interesting tool, because if you want to kind of allow that mirror to move on, it works for me.
It's all right. You can use
Nothing
it that
personal, yes.
way. Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
Well, it is personal, but that's all right.
Yes. Yes.
It doesn't mean it's negatively personal.
Yes. So in relation to my reality here, living
One
here.
more thing. When we say it's not necessarily negatively personal, sometimes what we mean is the idea that sometimes the most loving thing you can do is remove yourself from someone's life to show them the consequences of the choices that they're making, and how their choices may be vibrationally incompatible with you, so that you give them the option to decide whether or not they wish to change their choices and allow the relationship to continue or not. So it can actually be the most loving thing you can do.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for that.
Yes.
Because I've wondered about that little
right.
trigger.
All right.
Yes. Your ship, I haven't heard this. You are where in distance?
Above Sedona,
Yeah. Where?
about 5,000 of your miles above Bell Rock.
Okay. You have ascended a little more.
Depends on what's going on a daily basis.
Understood. Okay, because lately things have, in my reality and that fake reality of watching the news, because I'm not sure if that's real either, as we have mentioned.
It's a different reality.
Yeah, and shifts and pole shifts, global shifts,
Yes.
the geology, the Amazon.
Yes.
The Amazon burning, how did that affect us? Did it?
Some,
Yeah.
not everyone, but it's a call to action.
Yes.
And therefore, to see how many people are willing to take the action and how they'll shift to a reality where taking that action is representative of the vibration of the reality they prefer. Remember, the language of physical reality is physical action, not words.
Mm-hmm.
Physical action
Mm-hmm.
is the language of physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you have to act in order to speak, in order to be heard.
Yes.
Remember, you yourselves know this to be the truth. You often yourselves say, don't listen to what a person says, watch what they do. That's how you know who they are.
Mm.
So without taking physical action, you are mute.
Mm. Yes. Moving back to the category of contact, finally.
Yes.
I have become very honest with myself about my fear values.
Yes.
That this point of contact, I got to a point where it's like, I don't need contact. What's the point? There is no point, really,
True,
except to
although,
explore
of
more of
course,
myself.
Yes,
right?
and of course, remember that you're having contact right now.
It's understood. Zing. So, physical contact, I have been here and going to specific places out there on the land, in my house. I had an interaction with
Opportunities abound. Listen to the upcoming transmission we will be delivering called Midnight Under the Hunter's Moon. And it will address this issue to some degree.
Yes.
All right?
Thank you for that.
You are welcome. Is it time to say goodbye?
It's time, Bashar.
All right. Fare thee well on thy journey, on thy path. Walk it with firm resolve and the knowledge that it is the current that will take you where you need to go. That was a friend.
See, understood. I love you.
Our unconditional love to you as well.
Blessings.
And to you good day.
I wasn't expecting this at all.
Well, again, congratulations.
Thank you.
Expecting the unexpected is the new norm.
It is my language.
All right. What would you unexpectedly like to say?
I'm curious about things that we call into our reality as far as maybe being not so much of a, well, maybe it's a permission slip, but
It's all a permission slip, but go ahead.
the way that I see my personal evolution as ascension,
Yes.
there's things that we all have to manage or understand about ourselves.
Yes.
So in my reality, I manifested something called a twin flame.
Yes.
And I'm curious if that's a matrix protocol for entertainment purposes only. I'm bored with my reality.
Aren't you a charmer? Hi, I love you for entertainment purposes. How about not only for entertainment purposes only, but for educational purposes as well? Because anyone that you interact with that is there to reflect to you what you need to know to become more of yourself as you do the same for them at that moment is a twin flame and soulmate. Doesn't mean they have to stick around. It means they might. But you don't have to know that in the moment. Just see where it goes, be unconditionally supportive and loving, enjoy the moment, and don't make assumptions about why you think it's there, other than knowing that all relationships are there for the purpose of doing what we just said, reflecting to each other in the relationship what you need to know to become more of yourself. Does this help?
Yes, I've seen that my interactions with social media, now known as AI, has seemed to help some people put aside their old belief systems,
Yes.
healings of past, allowing them to get more into alignment of bringing in their future selves.
All right.
Since
Each of you are here to help the other, to reflect to the other in that way. So in that ultimate sense, you're all twin flames.
Agreed.
Everybody. But we understand you can make an agreement for a particular arrangement sometimes, with a particular identity or individual sometimes that may be more vibrationally compatible with the theme that you're exploring. And that's fine, and you might call that a twin flame and a soulmate, and that's fine. But these are all labels that simply allow you to understand that there may have been a specific agreement or arrangement, but that doesn't necessarily mean you know all the details of what that agreement or arrangement are about. So all you have to do is just play it out and see where it goes, and not create insistences or assumptions on what it's supposed to be, or how long it's supposed to last, or how it's supposed to look, because you really won't know that until the end of your life.
There's something you said a little earlier about giving the gift of walking away.
Yes. Sometimes that can be the most loving thing to do because you're demonstrating to someone else that their choices may not be vibrationally compatible with yours. Therefore, you give them an opportunity to change, or you give them an opportunity to stay the same. And if they choose to stay the same, you give them an opportunity to go off and find someone that they believe might be more vibrationally compatible with the path that they happen to be on. And you will then allow yourself to align more with a path that you are more vibrationally compatible with, and allow other people to come into your life that will also be of a similar wavelength. So yes, sometimes it's the most loving thing you can do.
I have experienced, because of the twin flame, and I'm asking this as a question as realization,
Yes.
that he was brought into my life, and the way that I interact with my soulmate or partner
Yes.
is kind of like Buster Keaton, where I run into a brick wall and keep playing out the same thing over and over again.
And so, in what way do you have a belief system that says that that serves you? How are you getting something out of doing it over and over again? What are you afraid of about moving forward?
My question to you about the realization of that was that I was triggered into believing I do this on purpose to learn to accept the reality.
And have you accepted the reality?
I like being Buster Keaton
Because
it makes other people laugh, and perhaps they change their point of view or perspective in their behavior.
then you are saying you are a heyoka. Do you understand that term?
Nope.
It is an American Indian term that means clown who teaches.
Or fool.
Sort of like the fool. The idea that you allow people to see through your lessons the lessons within themselves that they need to perceive. So if that's the role you're playing and you're okay with that, that's fine. But if you're not okay with it, you can change. But it's up to you.
I figured that the twin flame was making me aware of that fact, to own
Could
that
be.
reality.
Could be. But again, you still have to come down to the idea of, is the reality vibrationally compatible with what you prefer the reality to be? Yes or no?
I will serve my highest good.
Well, yes, but sometimes you can believe something serves your highest good and it doesn't. That's what we're saying. You have to be clear about the motivation behind what you're choosing to do.
Am I doing that? Am I making an excuse for it?
You could be, but you have to be honest with yourself and investigate that. The easiest thing to do is, again, look at your motivations for why you choose it. And the only reason you would choose anything is because you do believe you're getting something out of it as opposed to the alternative. But you have to examine whether that belief is actually representative of a positive or a negative belief system. Because it might be sometimes based on the idea that you're afraid to move forward, and therefore staying where you are feels safer.
I like the heyoka. Since I have the opportunity of being here, is there anything that would serve me that I should know about my connections to upper dimensions, reality, that I serve in capacity for?
Do you have some form of artistic expression you're not expressing in your life?
I'm kind of what they call a hobbyist.
Of what?
A whole lot of little things.
Such as?
Pottery, painting, doll making.
What do you get out of doing those things?
Meditative state.
And what do you do with those things when you create them?
The actual items.
Yes, the actual items.
I usually gift them.
All right. The state that you are in when you make them, is that your preferred state?
As long as I'm channeling information, yes.
So you use that as a permission slip to bring through information when you are making those things? When you are at your hobby?
Yes.
All right. And so, what do you do with the information? Just apply it to your life, yes?
Storytelling.
Storytelling. So that's a creative outlet. Are you a storyteller? Do you create stories to share with others?
Yes.
In what way?
One tweet at a time.
Well, recently there was a sign on your planet that the channel saw, and so I will ask you a question that is relevant to that particular sign. Do you tweet others as you would like to be tweeted?
Absolutely.
All right. Anything else you would like to do with those stories besides tweeting them? Little birdie?
For the few that I seem to be in frequency or resonation with, I have always given it that I am just the messenger they get to decide what to do with the information they've received.
Oh, well, of absolute truth, because it's none of your business what anyone does with you share with them. None of your business at all. It's none of our business what any of you do with the information we share with all of you. So yes, that's true, but that's not what I asked you. What I asked you is there any other way you wish to express those stories other than through tweeting?
I would be open to having a hint what would be beneficial as far as podcast or...
All right, so you can talk your stories, you can write your stories, whichever is most exciting, or maybe both.
Okay.
I'm asking if they're exciting for you to do that in that way. Can you tell your stories vocally? Can you write your stories down and share them that way too?
I'm better at speaking my stories.
All right. Then all of the ways in which you can speak your stories that you're excited to do, we would suggest you do, so that you can expand that idea.
Is there a correlation between channels like Bashar or Daryl with the frequency and vibration of voice, that if they hear the vibration they receive?
Yes.
Okay. I think we are complete.
We thank you. However, the story will never be complete.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I was not expecting to be chosen.
Another unexpected surprise.
I didn't know who you were 2 months ago.
Didn't know who you were 2 months ago. So we have that in common.
Yeah. I went to a retreat in Mount Shasta.
Yes.
Is where I'm from.
Was that fun?
It was fun.
All right.
And I had some awakenings and realizations.
All right.
The reason I'm in Sedona was for a ayahuasca retreat.
Oh, all right. How exciting.
Ayahuasca.
Oh, all right.
You said that.
Yes, I know.
So, there's a few questions I have.
Yes.
It felt like I entered into God's consciousness, the core of it. I had like a violent nirvana.
Violent nirvana.
That's all I can do.
How exciting.
Yeah. I died and I resurrected.
In a sense, yes. You became aware of the fact that you die and resurrect billions of times a second.
Yeah. It hurt.
Do you have a question?
Who is Julie to me?
I can't answer that for you. That has to come from another source.
What about Jesus?
I cannot answer those names for you. This has to come from another source. This entire category of question is not my job. It belongs to someone else who will give you that information.
So I have a spirit guide,
Yes, you
permission slip. His name is Raven Feather, Ashitawa, and he's been guiding me along this journey.
It is far more likely that the answers to those questions will come from that guide, or at least some experience you will have with the teacher that you've already named from the earth. Anything else?
I feel called to move here and sell my house. I don't really have much of a direction. I'm just following the flow.
All right. If you are taking action on something that is representative of your passion, then take the action without any assumption that it has to necessarily come to fruition. It might, but it might not. The whole point sometimes of the form in which your passion comes is just to get you to move, to act on it, so that you can wind up where you need to be when what really needs to happen will happen. So never assume you know why the excitement or the curiosity or the attraction or the drive comes in the form that it does. But take the best action you can and see what happens. That will always be what keeps you directly on your path. Yes?
Yes.
All right. Anything else? Or do you have what you need to move forward?
Perhaps you could give me some advice on channeling.
Well, as I said, when you act on your passion and follow the formula, you are in a channeling state. So it's the most natural way to get there. It is an actual brainwave state called gamma, between 40 and 100 cycles per second, 40 and 100 hertz. When you follow your passion, you automatically go into the gamma range, into the channeling frequency. So following the formula of acting on your passion every moment that you can, taking it as far as you can, doing the best you can to act on it with absolutely zero insistence or assumption as to what the outcome ought to be, and staying in a positive state no matter what manifests, is the formula that will keep you in the channeling state. It's that simple. We render it down into this instruction manual. Just follow the instruction, and you will remain in the channeling state. Yes?
Yes.
Does that help?
Yes.
Anything else?
I've been told I'm special or powerful, and
You are all special and powerful.
true.
So that is true. You are special and powerful like everyone. So all you have to do is act like it to know that you are.
That helps.
All right. Then we thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
I'm really thankful that you're my mirror today.
All right, and we are grateful for you as well.
Thank you. And I would like to thank the person who gave me this opportunity to ask a question of Bashar.
All right.
I have a few due to pet theme about my dog. So 1 month ago, me and my husband has decided, due to the frequent traveling, find new owners for our dog.
All right.
And
did you ask the dog for help in doing that?
yes,
All right.
all the time.
All right. And?
I miss her a lot.
All right.
And my question is, what is my dog's best interest? To be with us or stay with a new loving family?
Do you have visitation rights?
Yes.
Will that suffice for you to be able to visit the dog now and then? And know that in the meantime, if you are not around, that the dog is in the care of a loving family, and yet you still get to participate, you still get to interact. Does that work for you or not? Yes or no? Hesitation usually means no. And if that doesn't work for you, then is there some other arrangement you can make whereby the dog can remain with you? Even while you act on your passion? If you are, in fact, acting on your passion to not have the dog? Can you answer any of these questions?
Yes. So I think I should speak not with you, but with new owners.
Yes.
Yes. So.
That might be a wise thing to do.
Yes. If I may, the next question. One time my husband said that I might like something inside me because I miss my dog. Is that true?
Not necessarily. It can be true, but not necessarily. That's why I've asked you to determine within yourself whether or not having the dog or not having the dog is actually true for you. Because if it isn't true for you, that the dog is somewhere else, then you will feel it perhaps as a lack, because it might be telling you that the dog ought to be with you. But you have to determine that for yourself by figuring all this out in the way that I've described it to you. You may have to figure out a way of changing your lifestyle that is more compatible with having the dog, if that is really what is representative of your passion. You have to explore different probabilities to see what actually fits. Yes?
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. And the last question. It's very important to me.
Oh, all right.
So
I'm paying strict attention.
Yes. When I'm holding my dog, who gets the idea first of rubbing the belly? She sends it to my head, or because I enjoy rubbing the belly, she allows me to do it?
Are you asking which came first, the
Yes.
chicken or the egg?
Yeah.
But in a new and wholly unique way? Which comes first, the dog telling me to rub its belly or me thinking I should rub its belly?
Yes.
I'm going to ask you a question in return. Why is it important to know whether one came first or not? Can't they both simply simultaneously exist at the same time?
Okay.
Can't cause and effect be one moment instead of two?
So we both.
Can't you just be so vibrationally in tune that the asking and the knowing and the doing are all simply one action? And you don't have to break it apart into, well, who asked first? Who cares as long as the belly's getting rubbed?
Yeah. Yeah. That is very true. I'm very happy for this interaction. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nania.
Hello, Tatea.
Nania.
Okay, so here are some questions for you
From?
from Ustream.
All right.
What do the children of now want to tell us?
First of all, we sense that the person that asked that question knows the answer very well. Obviously, the children of now are teaching many things to the so-called adults who need to understand in some ways, not every way, but in some ways, how to think more like children, how to be their childlike self that is open to more of creation, so that the imagination can ignite and they can become creative in the ways in which they create space and experiences for children to learn what they need to learn to exist as physical beings. So it takes the idea of an adult becoming a creative child in a way that will allow the child to grow into a creative adult.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
When a person starts to follow the formula and they start having an overwhelming amount of opportunity come their way.
Well, it won't be overwhelming. It will be exactly correct when they follow the formula. Following the formula cannot create an overwhelm.
So what does that mean if the person is feeling overwhelmed?
Then
by
they're
all
not
the
exactly following the formula. They must be off kilter from the formula somehow. Because again, remember, one of the tools in the kit is the organizing principle of synchronicity. And therefore, if you're actually truly allowing it to do the organizing, you won't feel overwhelmed because things will only be presented to you in the order and with the timing required for the accomplishment of those things. You won't be given more than the moment requires if you're actually following the formula.
And is also an idea of just do what appears to be the next most exciting thing instead of just weigh it out. And if there's not that much of a difference between one or the other, then it doesn't really matter which one you choose.
Correct, because if there actually needs to be a difference, choosing the one that isn't correct for you, synchronicity, again as the organizing principle, will turn you around to the one that is correct. That's what we mean by organizing principle. It won't let you go astray if you're willing to listen to it.
Okay.
So, someone who is feeling overwhelmed has a slight misunderstanding of how they're using the formula. Something is a little off kilter, or a negative belief is being revealed to them that they need to deal with, but they're not dealing with it.
Okay. If you choose to stop believing in the physical dream and feel attracted towards being a pure spirit,
yes,
does the human body register this and let our soul out of it once and for all?
Well, again, it depends. It depends on why that might happen for that person if it is necessary for fulfilling a certain theme of exploration. It's something that generally isn't common because you sort of make an agreement with yourself that you'll kind of play things out. You already know the duration that is necessary for the process you wish to experience and the theme you wish to explore in physical reality. And so in general, that will not happen. But there might be some cases where it can. But you would have to examine that particular case to see what the reasons are for why that appears to manifest that way.
So at what level of consciousness does a human decide to leave the physical body?
Well, on the spirit level, because again, you typically set that up in general for yourself, again, speaking linearly, before the life.
So a decision of like whether or not to quote unquote die in a car accident because the body is
It doesn't necessarily have to be that specific. It can be. But generally speaking, people will usually choose any particular doorway out that comes along randomly on Earth when it's falling within the general window of time that it's okay for them to have agreed to leave. So it might just be, all right, somewhere between now and then, whatever comes along that is the most efficient for me, that works best for me, then that will be what I allow myself to experience, and I will leave if I need that kind of a mechanism. Now, you can get to a point where you can also, as I said, just lie down and leave. That's what we do. We just leave, but of course we don't leave a body behind. It converts into energy.
And that actually converted into the next question, which was, when a Sasani dies or ascends, do you experience a form of grief?
No.
Do you engage in any rituals?
No.
Or do you rejoice with
Yes.
the ascending person?
Yes. Because again, remember that at our point in evolution, we're not out of touch with them. We're not out of contact with them. Do you understand?
Yes.
We can still communicate with them. So it's not like they've gone anywhere particular that we can't get in touch with them for. They're just in a different state now.
So when you all don't sleep, how do you connect with spirit?
By being almost at the point of being spirit. Remember, we are quasi-physical, exhibiting traits of physicality and spirit. So we can simply communicate with spirits, par for the course, as easily as you talk to a friend sitting next to you.
So do you get to the point where, I know like on Earth, sometimes you can take like a power nap, like for 10 minutes, and then somehow by connecting with spirit, you're rejuvenated.
Well, yes, but that's your way of doing it because most of you don't necessarily know that you are spirit experiencing a physical reality. But we know that. Therefore, we don't have to pretend to connect because we never feel disconnected.
And the idea of us sleeping, that's our technology in a sense of connecting in with spirit.
It's recharging your batteries to continue to have a physical reality which isn't real. It's convincing yourself to keep going and playing the game. It's like taking a momentary break while you're playing chess to sort of reassess your strategy and then get back into the game.
Yeah, because like you said, you will become psychotic if you don't sleep.
Yes, because you won't have a strategy. You won't have a plan. You won't have a template. You won't have a blueprint.
So is there's actually more to understand about what happens when we sleep and how we connect with spirit and what's actually happening during that time that
Yes.
we may be exploring at some point in the future?
The subject of another transmission entirely.
Okay, let's see if there's anything else. I know. Someone asked whether or not you're married because you have a lot of people who like you.
Was that a question?
That was a question that came from someone.
Everyone in our society, in a sense, is in a single marriage to each other. And we are in a marriage with all of you already in the service that we provide for you. And the reflections and the information that we share with you is a form of marriage. But we don't have the rituals that you have on your planet, for they are unnecessary.
Well, on that note,
Is it time for your break?
it is.
Then please take a short break. We will resume this transmission for your holotope meditation to crystallize in the idea of children of the future.
We will resume contact in approximately 15 minutes.
All right, I'll say, let us continue the transmission by encouraging each and every single one of you to become very relaxed in your chairs. Let go of the cares of the day. Let go. Just relax. Begin to breathe deeply, gently, and easily. Allow your lights to begin to play. Allow your music to rise. And as it does so, please allow yourselves to focus on the holotope before you, which is a mirror of your consciousness, reflecting all of the ideas we have shared with you in these transmissions at this time in your reality. As the music begins to fill the space you are in, you are going to go on a journey with us. Just drift and dream together with us as the children of the future. Allow the lights to play through your eyes, along your neurological net and into your brain to rewire and open doors through which the future version of you can reach you. Allow your imagination to open wide. And allow yourself to breathe gently, deeply, and allow the relaxation to grow. Just let go of anything right now that does not belong in this moment, at this time, right here, right now. Just allow yourself to float along. Let the music sink in, seep in, envelop you in a bubble reality. And now allow yourselves to imagine, in whatever way, shape, or form comes to you at this time, the idea of a future version of you, a counterpart, in another time, in another space, in another reality. See that version in its own environment, in its own life, and feel the conviction, the certainty, the creativity, the passion, the love that exudes from that version of you, your future self. And as you begin to feel, to empathize, to connect to the deep emotional truth of that you, of that future self, in that life, in that world, in that realm, in that dimension, in spirit, either physical or non. You begin to allow those feelings, those vibrations to wash through you, to allow them to grow, to allow the sensation to rise. And as those sensations and vibrations begin to course through your body, through your blood, through your cells, through your atoms, you feel yourself aligning. You feel yourself receiving. You feel yourself to be an open invitation to the future, to send you what information you require, to send you the vibrations of its reality, to send you the knowledge and the certainty of its existence, to allow you to siphon from that frequency all that you need to inform yourself, not from the past, but from the version of you that mirrors and reflects the future self. The future self that expands with creation. The future self that lives its passion. The future self that knows itself deeply and truly. Knows itself to be a reflection of existence that is worthy and beautiful and graceful, and in a reality in which there is no harm, in a reality in which all manifestations are used to your benefit, in a reality where you know this is real, that you are the creator of it, and that the experience that you have created with future information will guide you along a new path of self-realization, self-creation, self-crystallization, to strengthen your knowledge of the indestructible core that exists within you, to transmute and transform all your fears into light and love and support, to realize there is no need anymore for insistence. For insistence is resistance, and in the future, there is no resistance. It is the path of least resistance, the effortless flow of your own consciousness into every nook and cranny of creativity, into the absolute knowingness of your deepest appreciation of your life, feeling the support, the unconditional support and love of all that is coursing through you and vibrating every cell of your being. Allow yourself to breathe it in, to feel the light penetrating deeply through your skin, into your cells, into your blood, into your nerves, into your brain, sending warmth coursing through you. The warmth of love, the warmth of support, the beautiful warmth of the nurturing cosmos, of creation, of all that is. The future you is now, here with you now. All you need do is be open to the manifestation of it. It is not something that you need to attain. It is what you are, if you would but realize it with open eyes and open heart and open mind and open spirit full of grace and gratitude and appreciation. Henceforth, allow more of the manifestation of the future self that is here and now with you, that you are. For all things are present, including the future. Allow yourself to define yourself now, once again not from the past, but from what is in what you call the future that is now. Be the future self. Let go of that which does not serve you. We are here with you. In what you call the future, we reside. In what you call the future, we dwell. In what you call the future, we create. In what you call the future, we love. And yet we are here with you now. Exactly as your own future selves are here with you now. And they are you, and you are them. Here and now. Allow your imagination to visualize. Allow your imagination to be set free. Allow your imagination to realize that the future you see is here and now, without insistence, allowing it to take whatever form serves you best, allowing it to take whatever form your higher mind gives you as a great gift of revelation of the truth of your existence in the present, informed by the future self, that beckons you forward, that invites you into more of your being, and shall never let you go, and shall never lead you astray, as long as your eyes are open on the path of passion and you are willing to take that action. The future shall always serve you best. Let go of your disbelief and believe in yourselves. Let go of the fear and believe in yourselves. And vibrate in accord and harmony with us and your future selves. The future is here, the future is now, and you are it, right here, right now. Let go of your despairs. Let go of your worries. Life is beautifully complex, but it does not have to be complicated. Let go of your need for it to be so. Let go of your insistence on the appearance and the outcome. For things are always beginning, things are always ending, and the cycle expands and expands. It never ends because it never began. It is what is. And why all that is can say, I am that I am. For it is all that is here and now. This is the knowledge of the future, that you are who you are for a reason. Be that reason. Act on the vibration of your truth, the vibration of your passion, in the form in which it comes to you from the future self. It is given to you as a gift. Do not reject it. Invite it in. Allow it in. Unwrap it, unfold it, and cherish the treasure you discover that is you, given to you by us and the future selves that you are. Live here with us. Live now with us. Allow yourselves to drift and dream. Allow the music and the chords and the vibrations and the harmonies to play within you, opening you up, feeling the doors open wide, allowing you clear sight, clairvoyance of the future, that is the now, revealing it to yourself in the present. Shifting your vibration so that what is invisible to you becomes visible now in your imagination, and your willingness to be you, and your willingness to receive the gift of future self, and the willingness to act and be that you. For as you act, so shall you be, and so shall others know you as such. Allow yourself to transcend the dimensions. Allow yourself to transcend the eons. Allow yourself to contain the ages that are to come. Allow yourself to be your true self, the future self that is truly you. When you have awakened to all that you are, and deny it no further. Awaken and deny it no further. Awaken and deny it no further. Look in the mirror of infinity and see the true you that is your future and your present simultaneously. Be open to receive it. Be open to that reflection. Look not over your shoulder to the past, for there is no longer a mirror there, and anything you see is illusion, and no longer shall serve the you prefer to be. Look not over your shoulder to the past. Open your eyes forward so that you may walk the path unerringly, clearly, joyfully, truthfully, purposefully, as you, the true you. Let go of your grief of the past. It is no longer real to you as the future self, for you have defined yourself anew and changed your history. Now, the history that leads to the future self you prefer to be is what is now instilled within you, in the crystallized harmonic vibration of your being. Be with us now. Be with us here. Be with us as yourself, the future you that we know, that lives in our reality, and no other. Be the path itself. Be here now. Be with us and be with you, in peace and joy and love and harmony. In the depths of your soul, feel it. In the depths of your soul, know it. In the depths of your being, know yourself as the self you know you are becoming now. In the depths of your mind, let go of that which does not serve you. In the depths of your spirit, fly free to the future and let it reflect back to you now. Let it pull you like a magnet to your future self. Let it guide you. Let it assure you and give you reason to know, not to hope, but to know that you can be that you now, that you are that you now. All you have to do is match that frequency, mirror that future self you see in your imagination, your eye, magi, nation. Be a member of the nation of magicians that you are, and transform yourself in the blink of an eye. Find your strength. Find your core. Find your truth. Find your passion and act upon it. Because that is what the future self does. And that is now you, if you wish it to be. It is so. And as above, so below. Allow yourselves now to remain in gentle state and gentle repose, drifting freely on the currents of creation. Wave after wave of energy, light, love, and information coming to you now from the future, in the now, in the now, in the future. And continue to breathe with us, with us, with us. Allow your lights to dim, but allow your music to continue to carry you upon the waves and the currents of time and space that all coalesce in the present. And just drift and dream and breathe with us. Crystallize.
music to soften, but remain in the silence, remain in the void, remain in the present, and continue to breathe. And with every breath, know that your future self is here, that your future self is now. So be it. And as above, so below. Welcome home, our unconditional love to you all. Sweet dreams. Welcome home. Be at peace. Welcome home.